Welcome back to Daily Flash. So, Mitch, do you remember life before Facebook?
Yeah, 100%. I do, yes. Very vividly.
How do you think things have changed since?
I think our life is out there now, and we only show the good parts, you know, and so when I see something now, I look like, oh, that's just the good parts. We're not seeing the arguments and that sort of thing.
Yeah, you don't see the ugly stuff underneath.
Right.
What would you do if you were banned from Facebook?
Ooh, well, okay, that's something to think about for sure.
It is. Well, joining us to talk about life after the book and its effects in mental health is Business Insider's Leah Borski.
Hey.
Leah, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So first, let's get to this. How did you get banned from Facebook?
Honestly, I don't know. I just tried to log into my account as normal and couldn't get in. And I was really confused at first. And then I got an email from them saying that my account had done something that was against Facebook rules. I still don't know what it was. I think actually that it was hacked.
Okay, it makes a lot of sense. You know, a lot of people, they call it the Facebook jail when they go do that. But what was your initial reaction to when it happened? You're boggling your mind, trying to figure out what you said, or were you able to even go back and review what you had written, maybe to think?
No, I mean, I knew I hadn't done anything against the rules because I just don't. But I couldn't get into my account, and so I was contacting my family and friends to see if they could see my account, and it had just disappeared.
Okay.
So when the final decision came down, how did you respond?
Well, so they sent me a link in the email that I could click to resolve the issue, and that got me nowhere. And so after about 2 weeks of trying that and searching for other ways to get in there, I finally just decided that maybe Facebook wasn't the place for me to be anymore.
Okay, so that took you to this part of your journey, which is what we're here to discuss about. Either whatever way, if you voluntarily go off, maybe Facebook says you don't need to be on our community, that sort of thing, or something, just somebody hacked it. It got you to this point. How did it affect your mental health from maybe when you were on to afterwards?
Yeah, so I didn't really notice a change right away, except that I felt kind of panicked because it was just, you know, such a normal part of my everyday, and suddenly it was gone, and it was kind of outside of my control.
Sure.
And I feel like the control part really kind of freaked me out at first. And then after I had some time away, I started to realize how much being on there so consistently was infiltrating my brain every day.
Okay, I can imagine that. You work for Business Insider, but it seems like our business, what we have to do, we have to kind of monitor what's going on Facebook because that's what people are talking about. Did the fact that did it take anything away from your job? And if so, did that affect your mental health? Because you're now it's going to be harder for me to do this? Or is it oh, wait, we used to do this before Facebook in the first place?
Yeah, so it was kind of like a relearning curve, I guess.
Yeah.
At first, I was oh my gosh, how am I going to do this stuff? And then had to slow down and figure out, okay, there's other ways to do this. Facebook is not the only thing out there. And so just reassessing my options and getting out there and doing it a different way.
How important are social media breaks when it comes to mental health, now that you've had this time to reflect and kind of go without it?
I would say so important. As I mentioned in the article, I've taken, a couple day digital breaks before, and I thought that was enough. And I realized with this that it's totally not. I feel like probably a minimum of a week, just to clear out our heads and have the space to not be stuck in that groupthink thing that happens on Facebook.
Well, let's talk about a little bit social media by the numbers. We're going to go through some here that you kind of had figured this out too. And they said that the numbers, well, they just don't lie when it comes to social media. First off, they're saying about how many Americans are actually using social media. And they say that more than half of Americans that their social media is actually used has intensified their feelings of anxiety, depression, and even loneliness as well. That's interesting. And that's by the Reboot Foundation as well. Why is that the case though? I mean, what are you seeing from your discovery of all this?
In my experience, I feel like just that constant feeling like you're always on, even when you're not. So I realized afterwards that my brain was always thinking about that, even when I wasn't on Facebook, even when I wasn't engaging there. It was just kind of this background hum in my brain at all times. And I think that was the biggest aha to me about my use of social media and how it was affecting my mind.
What about teens who spend more than 3 hours per day on social media? They are more likely to develop mental health issues, according to recent studies. Your reaction to this, and why can't we just unplug and turn it off?
Oh boy. Well, I think that more than 3 hours a day for anyone is not healthy, but I think especially for kids, adolescents, because their brains are still developing, and this social media is affecting how that works. And I think that that is why they feel the anxiety and the loneliness. It's like you're constantly in touch with people, but it's not real connection.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the loneliness is happening.
It's very synthetic, and to a point where it's like if you need it, just like a drug would be, you would go to it all the time. And this morning, my wife and I, we were talking about picking up the phone. First thing you do. We don't do it as often anymore. Leah, thank you so much for joining us. Here's the thing: we can't tell anybody where to join you on social media, but I think that's a good thing. So check out businessinsider.com. You'll find more information about the life after Facebook as well, and all the details are there. Really cool, interesting stuff. You wonder if you could do it, and I think it's just a matter of somebody making you do it. You can get out of it. Thank you so much for joining us. We have more Daily Flash coming up after this.